yeah, look at that, huh? Ooh. Look at that. Turn the system off here. So we're doing an oil tune-up on a Peerless boiler. We're going to start off with the oil side, change the nozzle, the filter, and the strainer on the system. It's part of the annual maintenance of the oil system. So these are the 3 components that we're going to be changing out during an annual service visit for our oil system. The first component that you're going to see in the oil system is going to be your filter, which is this white filter here. That's going to filter the oil before it gets to the strainer, which is a secondary filter in line. The strainer is mounted here in the burner, and then the last portion the oil is going to go through is your nozzle, which injects the oil into the burner. Gotta get the gloves on here. This tends to be a bit dirty, so get that going. Gotta watch the pipes.
Just break it.
Oh yeah.
Where's the filter located?
Over here.
Okay.
So now that we're at the oil tank, this filter happens to be located here. Sometimes you're at your oil burner. We're gonna go ahead and shut the tank off to stop oil flow. And when we shut it off, there should be no stem sticking out the bottom down here. When it's on, I'll show you once we turn it back on what that looks like. You're gonna get a little bit of oil if you want to just back up the camera, just in case we get a little splatter. There we go, we're good. You're good now.
Okay.
Coming closer. And then you'll see there's gonna be a little gunk in here, I could already tell. So this oil filter has not been changed in quite some time. That substance that you see on there's a substance called sludge, which is typically a bacteria that grows in oil. The longer you wait between maintenances, the more that grows and the more gunk gets built up in the filter, which can restrict the flow of oil and can cause no heat. Oh yeah, look at that, huh? Ooh. Look at that.
It's gross.
Oh yeah. Yeah, look inside there. That's nice, good, yummy stuff.
Yeah, keep the light on it.
Yep.
Fix.
Okay. You can see the filter here has a bunch of slime on it. It's all just gunk from the oil. Again, this filter hasn't been changed in a very, very long time. I'm surprised the system was still running. Can't talk today.
That's gross.
Yeah, that's nasty. It's probably one of the worst ones I've seen so far this year. Good one to start on, huh?
A ball of poop.
Yeah. We're just purging the oil line a little bit and getting a little oil in our can so we can rinse some of that gunk out of there. Just like to rinse the can out a little bit. Get some of that stuff out of there. Grab some oil degreaser and we're going to clean that can out really good. We're going to go ahead and clean out the oil can, get some of that leftover stuff out of there. See all the gunk in there. Most of it's gone, but see all the brown nastiness in there. Just wipe some more of that stuff out. Should be all set. So we're gonna go ahead and put that new filter back in. You can definitely see the difference. This one's white. started here. I'm actually gonna hold off on putting that back in for now. What we're gonna do for this job is actually clean the oil line out because of the gunk that was in there. We're gonna make sure that the oil line isn't filled with that same sludge. So we're gonna put this back in here. We're gonna just kind of clean the oil line out before we go ahead and get started. So we're gonna blow the oil line back, but we're not gonna do that. So there's too many different opinions on what to do with this. So basically there's sludge that builds up in this line here. We're gonna make sure it's not gonna restrict the flow of oil in the future. But some guys blow it the other way, some guys blow it this way. It really depends on preference. Hopefully Billy didn't use all those last night. This is just the oil pressure gauge to tell how much pressure is coming through the pump. So whenever troubleshooting, it's always a good tool to have on hand. The oil pump is actually this device right here. So this one, for instance, is set to 150 psi from the factory. Alrighty, so I don't get a CO2 cartridge. So what we're gonna do here is actually clean the oil line out using CO2 cartridges to get any gunk that's built up in the oil line out of it, so we can get free flow of oil to the unit.
Just like pop it right on top.
Yeah, so you just put the CO2 tool here onto your oil line. We'll turn our oil line back on the other side and let it rip. So we're just turning the oil valve back on over here. Get that turned on all the way, and then we'll shoot the oil back to the unit. So the CO2 cartridge is actually in this device here.
Yeah.
And then we just put that on there, and we're just gonna blow the oil back to the unit. We're actually gonna do that twice for this one, just because it's a long line.
That sounded terrifying.
What's that?
That sounded terrifying.
Yeah, it bubbles a little, that tank. We're just gonna turn our tank off so we don't get any oil coming back to us here. When you put the cartridge in there, it just has a little piercing valve that pierces the end of the cartridge as you insert it, and then it shoots pressure through here, through your oil line back to your tank to clean out any sludge in the line or any buildup or crud in the line. Sorry, I don't mean to run away from you.
No, you're good.
So we got the oil tank now turned off, and then we'll go ahead and remove our CO2 gun and then see how clean or dirty the oil is coming through. Go the right way with the wrench. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Releasing the oil line and cleaning that out, how much gunk is actually in the line when we take this out was actually removed from the line during that process. So that's why we removed the filter so it doesn't get all clogged up. Oh yeah, so you can see there's a bunch of gunk in there. That should be red, like Kool-Aid color. You'll see once we get it all cleaned up here, the difference between that and what it actually should look like.
You only have to do it like once, or?
What we just did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here you can see how much faster it's flowing now that we did that. So that's semi-clean oil. Still a little gunk in it. And I'll show you on the other side what it's going to look like once it's clean. Drop our filter back in. I'm going to put our bolt in here with our new gasket and clip this in. The valve that turns this on is called the firematic valve. So if you look down at the end here, you'll see it spins in both directions. This is going to go opposite of a normal thread. So actually turning it left is going to open the valve, Where most valves, if you turn them right or a screw, it engages. This is going to be opposite. So you see the threads starting to come out the bottom there. If these threads here are not exposed, the valve is not open. So you see the threads going farther and farther down. That means the valve is opening all the way. And then you'll feel it get tight, and that means you're stopped.